Hey guys, how you doing? Sorry it's taking so long. How the hell are you? It's been ages, long time no speak. You guys sent me loads of questions yesterday on a wide variety of things, and I've answered every single last one of them. Let's do a Twinterview. Oh, literally anything. I mean, I'm very open-minded musically. I'm in a heavy rock band, but I also like listen to pop music and stuff like that as well, and very avant-garde jazz and experimental electronic music and classical music. I'm open to everything. So I think and I'm open to ideas as well, and the books and things that I read are very broad. And I meet a lot of different types of people in society and stuff, through as a side effect of what I do for a living, I suppose. So I mean, anything can inspire me. It can be listening to something on the radio that I would never normally listen to, like an extreme pop song, and I might hear something in that which inspires like a heavy guitar riff or something, or just happiness, sadness, living life, other people's stories. Like a lyric may come from something that you're thinking about, from something you just read in a book. I mean, inspiration comes to me in different forms all the time, really. I haven't really got like a set process or anything that I tend to like stick to. Ideas can come from anywhere at any time, and I kind of like that. Old man freak boy, how you doing, buddy? My very good friend from the States, to whom I ashamedly take way too long to reply to on email. I'm sorry about that, man. You know what I'm like by now. But everybody go and follow Old man freak boy. He's got an amazing radio show in America, and he plays all my stuff, and has been a support for a long time, and he's just an all-round awesome dude. But in answering your question, my superpower, what superhero would I be, and what superpower would I have? I think I would probably have to be like Misfit Man, and I'd have a big M on my chest. And my superpower would be I would slay the bad guys. I would kind of like incapacitate the bad guys with my my dulcet, angelic, raspy vocal tones. So I would blast them with some kind of singing, and it would incapacitate them, and that would be my superpower. It's like the lamest superhero ever. I would sing them to death. En français? Ah, ok. Ah, oui. Bonjour, madame. Bonjour, mon ami. Je ne parle pas français. Je suis anglaise. Parlez-vous anglaise? Non? Ah. Ok. Je voudrais un sandwich avec jambon et fromage avec un café au lait, s'il vous plaît. Merci beaucoup. My celebrity crush is quite well known, I think. I've mentioned it in the past, and I'm loyal to my choice. I'm a committed one woman kind of a guy. So my celebrity crush is the gorgeous and talented Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, come on. Ooh, that's a great question, and a tough one to answer because, like, my hometown is South Wales, and it's such a kind of like varied place. I mean, I'm living out in the country now, but I've always lived like in the city as well, and we've kind of got all of that within like a few mile radius here. So I mean, that's a difficult one. I mean, I love South Wales. I've always lived here, and I do love Cardiff. It's a great city. It's got everything there, and it's small. But the sort of like natural countryside and everything here is beautiful as well. We got like national park and like mountains and things like that. So that's a tough one to call. I mean, for me, I guess I'm gonna give a cheesy answer and say that like my favorite place would be like wherever my family and my friends are. So wherever those nearest and dearest to me are, the most important people in my life. If we lived on a rubbish tip. If they were there, I'd rather live there than live on Miami Beach by myself. You know what I mean? So, I mean, like, I don't need a lot of external entertainment. I don't need anything kind of feeding my sensory hedonistic kind of needs or wants. It's important for me to be near the people that are important to me. So, yeah, I mean, like, where I am at the moment, I'm about half an hour away from my parents. and a half an hour away from the city. So I kind of got a good balance there, and I live in an amazing place, full of surrounded by natural beauty as well. So I mean, yeah, I'm very lucky and I'm very spoiled on all fronts. Yeah, I know the one you mean. It's in the other room. There's loads of random stuff kicking about this house. God knows why. But I mean, no, I've never played a harp in my life. I don't play the harp. I wouldn't know where to start. It just looks like the most complicated thing ever. So much respect to harp players and big up to harp players. There's a harp here if anybody wants to come and jam on it. I would love to come to the States. I love America, I love Americans, and I would love to come and visit you guys and do some shows. But unfortunately, your crazy president Donald Trump won't let me in. True story. I might be lying. If I could give everybody in the world one thing, it would probably be inner peace and inner acceptance of oneself, I think. I know that's a bit of a hippie answer, and you're probably hoping for something a bit more fun. But I think that oftentimes, like a lot of the anxieties and stresses and depressions and like confrontations and like negative situations that happen in our lives are oftentimes a result of our internal dialogue, the thoughts that we think and the things that we tell ourselves about ourselves and the people around us and what we think they're thinking, and catastrophizing about how bad something's going to be, and all these hypothetical things which never work out that intense when they finally happen. So I think like our the stories we tell ourselves and the things that we think create a lot of problems which don't really exist, and they cause a lot of stresses and tensions and like dis-ease within ourselves that we could probably do without, and lead a much more happier, relaxed, and fruitful life if it wasn't for the bloody voice in our head, who's a bully more often than not. And I think we treat ourselves in ways that we would never treat anybody else. We say things to ourselves in our mind that we would never say to anybody else. So more often than not, we are our own worst enemies, myself included. And I think that if we removed a lot of that, or if we could stage manage that a bit better and come to understand that it's just a protective mechanism that happens in our mind. If we could sort of like learn to just stage manage that and deal with it better, I think our relationships with other people would be better, our relationship with ourselves would be better, and our experience of life would be better. And as a result of that, society and the world could be better because of the way we treat each other and treat ourselves. So I think, yeah, if I could like magically give one superpower to everybody in the world, it would be inner peace, inner acceptance, and the ability to go easier on yourself, to be kinder to yourself, and to be proud of yourself, because we're all awesome, especially you guys. Okay, bad French alert. Pourquoi sur ton album il ne pas Good Days, Bad Days? I think I said that kind of okay. The song, I think you're asking me why is Good Days, Bad Days not on the album Home? Well, Good Days, Bad Days is from the album that came up before that called The National Health Service, which isn't available on CD. It was a digital only album, and you can get it on iTunes or Spotify, or I think it's all available for free on YouTube as well. I think, not Amazon. But yeah, the album's called The National Health Service. It's a collection of like acoustic songs, pretty much, that I did as a side project when Kaishiro was touring. And it's not on Home, but it is on an album. And if you haven't heard that album, and you didn't know the album existed, then there's 10 new songs for you to go and check out. So go and check that out, and I hope you like it. Merci beaucoup for your question. I don't know why I'm pronouncing things in a strange accent now. Au revoir. Well, you've touched on a subject which is very close to my heart as well there. I mean, the homeless situation in Cardiff is just off the scale. It's definitely gotten worse the past year or so. I mean, we've had a Tory government for quite some time now, so I'm sure that's got something to do with it. But just I find it personally difficult now to go out in Cardiff and to walk around, because like every few seconds you're seeing someone which is like quite desperately homeless. I mean, the level of poverty and desperation is quite extreme. I don't know what it's like where you live, but in Cardiff, it's just heartbreaking, and I personally find it difficult now. But I mean, I think this is a national problem. I mean, um, it's just not good enough. I mean, it's 2017 coming on 2018, and to see homelessness on the rise, so homelessness in this day and age, with all the resources and wealth and awareness and connectedness that we've got in this day and age, homelessness should be a thing like of the past. It shouldn't be on the rise. It should be on its way out. So I just feel that like it's one of those things which to me is so maddeningly kind of unnecessary because we've got empty buildings, we've got money, we've got the will. I just don't understand why anyone is sleeping on the streets in 2017 Britain. It's just not good enough. It's just not good enough, basically. There are solutions. You can ask any charity or institution that deals with this, and there's a ton of solutions to this problem. It's easily solvable. I'm pretty sure of that. I just don't think that the will is there on behalf of the government or the councils to deal with it as a priority. But it really is. I mean, winter's coming, Christmas is around the corner, and it just breaks my heart. It's freezing indoors. I mean, it just breaks my heart to think of people sleeping rough at this time of year and just in generally. But I mean, yeah, I'm passionate on this subject as well, like because I just don't see it as, oh well, there's a reason for it. It's just an unfortunate thing. It's not. There's no reason for it, and it's completely solvable. I mean, I quite often have conversations with people sleeping rough, and I was talking to a young girl called Becky the other day who I've seen a few times in Cardiff. She's like got to be in her late teens, early 20s, and it was hammering down with rain, and I was chatting to her and getting her backstory, and she's got no support structure. She's got no family. She's come from a bad background, and like a mother, got like drug and alcohol problems and things like that. So it's just like it can happen to any of us. It can happen to any of us. All of us are just one life situation away from ending up in that place. I mean, I'm so lucky and so fortunate that I've got the family and the background that I've had, so I haven't sort of like ended up going down that path. But it can happen to any of us. Life only has to throw you a curveball, and everything can fall apart, and you can very quickly end up at the total opposite end of the social spectrum. I've seen it happen to people. So, my heart goes out to anybody, that's dealing with this, because everyone's backstory is different, everyone's situation is different, and every personality is different. And I just don't see any reason why anyone has to fall that far in this day and age in this country. So, in terms of what we can do about it, I mean, definitely we need to keep pressuring the government and the councils in our area to treat this more as a priority and to do something about it. We can educate ourselves as to what we can personally do to help as well. I mean, I'm sure there's like loads of empty buildings and houses and like resources and things in all of our areas, that we could kind of get involved with, maybe trying to turn into a shelter or something like that. We can support the charities working on this, and I think just like try and do as much as you can in the moment ourselves, because if we wait on the government or someone else to come in and solve these problems for us, we're probably going to be waiting forever, because it's just not a priority. But to us, these are our fellow countrymen and women, and we have to walk past them every day in desperation, and it just breaks my heart. So I think you can do a lot yourself in the moment when you're there. Like I give as much money as I can, to homeless people, and I buy them food and coffees and things like that. And I still feel really guilty that I can't do that for everybody, because 2 seconds down the road and there's someone else in the same situation, and you can't give to everybody. It's just not possible. I just do the best I can. I try and be consistent about it. I appreciate that I can't change everyone's life every time I go out to town to buy a newspaper or something, but I do try and do as much as I can in and of the moment, and just be consistent about it and give little and often. Outside of the financial thing, I mean, all of us have got like blankets and sleeping bags and clothes and gloves and anything around the house that could be of use. Instead of just like leaving it in the airing cupboard or in the attic or whatever, go out and give it to people who would really like benefit from it. Especially at this time of year when it's freezing. So there's things you can do like that. You can get involved in the local charities. I think there are things that all of us can do which would make a a massive difference to people's lives. That may be a small outlay for us personally, but would make a massive difference to someone else just getting through their day. It's not going to solve their problem in the long run, but it's going to make their existence day by day just that little bit easier. And I think these people need that more than anybody. So, I mean, yeah, you've touched a very sensitive subject within me personally as well. I'm not trying to say that like I have any expert opinion on the subject, but I definitely think that it's just not good enough. It's avoidable. It should be treated as a priority, and that anything that any of us can do to help push things in that direction, we should definitely do it. Just Google which charities there are in your local area that deal with the homeless situation. Get involved, support the charities, and be as generous as you can and as supportive as you can and as understanding as you can to the people in your area that are dealing with extreme poverty and don't have a safety net. And yeah, and just fingers crossed that none of us ever have to experience that, because I can't imagine. Oh, and I know who you are. Crazy picture lady, Lynn. I don't know how you do those pictures, mate. They're amazing, and I do see them. And yeah, like that's quite a talent you've got there. So thanks for doing that. If anyone hasn't seen Lynn's pictures, go and check her out. I'd go and check her Twitter handle. She does pictures of like she mimics the pictures of me on the internet, and they're pretty detailed. I don't know how the hell she does it. So props to you. Ooh, that sounds like fun. What you think? I think we should definitely do it. Let's do it. Let's find one kind of like organizer, someone that's super organized, and we'll have a massive party, and people from all over the world can come, and we'll just like make a ton of noise and drink loads of booze, and God knows what else will occur from there on in. Yeah, I mean that's a tough one because like you guys are from all over the world, and I think everyone needs to be there. So I think it needs to be somewhere hot, somewhere awesome, somewhere by the sea, and somewhere where we can make loads of noise and drink loads of booze and cause loads of mayhem. So leave your suggestions below. And if anybody, any brave soul wants to take on the task of organizing a Misfit mashup 2018 global style, then I'll be there. Let's do it. Irene, Irene, how are you? Long time no see, Irene. Sorry about that. I don't know what came over me. How you doing, Irene? Thanks for the question. Long time no speak. I think the advice I would give to my 16-year-old self would probably be the same as an answer I gave in an earlier Twinterview for a different question. I think it would probably be to like trust my instinct. Yeah, I mean, like a lot of the things that I kind of knew were right when I was younger, and I didn't sort of like, be strict about following that, because I'm a nice guy, and I was like, okay, well, they probably know better, and then things don't pan out, and you get a lot of your time wasted, and you're kicking yourself because you knew that it was the wrong thing to do. But you didn't trust yourself. I've done a lot of that in my past, and I do kick myself for that. So I would tell myself to stick to my instinct. If you feel something in your gut and you've looked into it and you've thought long and hard about it, and you know that it's kind of feels right to you, then you're probably going to be right more often than not. I think, and at least then if you're not and it doesn't pan out that way, at least it's on your shoulders. It was your decision, and there we go. But I mean, if you know that something is right and you go with what someone else says because you don't believe in yourself or whatever, and then it goes pear-shaped and you knew you should have just gone with what you think, well then you're kicking yourself as well. So I think like definitely go with your instinct. You only got yourself to hold to account then, and if you think long and hard enough about things, and you feel it in your gut, then you're probably right. So go with what you know to be right, and be true to yourself and trust your instinct is what I would tell my 16-year-old self, and he wouldn't listen because he was a right little prick.